But this is also when other people start recognizing, and they won't know why maybe they're recognizing something, but they might ask you to do something. So for instance, when I was in the education world, and very early on in my teaching career, and I was in multiple different buildings, I had multiple different administrators, but almost every single one within a year or two of them getting to know me would ask me to be in a leadership position. Now, the first time it happened, I was like, what, me? I'm like one of the youngest people in the staff, definitely the youngest one on my team. And you're asking me to be in charge of them and to be the leader. And I couldn't understand it. And it took me a while to realize that, you see, they saw in me what I didn't see in myself. And that's the other thing. Other people will see in you what you don't see, because you live with yourself all the time, right? And they are seeing you from a different perspective. And so they're seeing different qualities in you than what you see in yourself. And once I figured out what was going on, I understood it. And then I realized why I was being chosen for different leadership positions. So when you do that, when you start to have that shift and you've got to be persistent. It can't be a one time you write your goal or a one-time thought. It has to be consistent and persistent. And you have to do it every single day. You have to think of that goal. You have to think of the things that you want. And that's the other thing. Don't just think the goal. Think of what you're going to do when you achieve that goal. You know, if it's a monetary goal, what are you going to do with the money? If it's a position goal, what are you going to do? What will that enable you to do? And if you're going to a manager or a vice president or something like that, obviously the income is going to come there too. So what are you going to do with that? How is that going to make you feel inside when you are now the vice president or the president? And which shift will you feel? And you have got to get those feelings before it happens. You have to become the person before it's going to happen. You see, even though I didn't see myself as a leader, subconsciously, I was building myself as a leader. And I actually built myself as a leader before I became a leader. And that's why I was chosen. When you want to be, let's say you want to go from manager to vice president, you have to start seeing yourself as the vice president. You have to start seeing yourself solving the issues that the vice president at your company would have to solve. You have to portray yourself as having the ability. So you might have to maybe dress a little differently. How does the vice president dress? How are you dressing? Is there a difference? If there is, then start to look like the vice president. Maybe it means you're actually going to have to talk to people in a different way, relate to people and communicate in a different way. Study those people that you admire at that level where they are. And then you have to model after what they're doing, because they know how to get there. You haven't gotten there yet. So obviously you have something you need to learn. And then you have to start shifting that subconscious. You have to see yourself doing those things now, because the goal always comes after you've made the shifts in you. The goal always comes after you've made the shifts. My son set the goal, but he had to become it first before he acquired it. So there's a way of doing things, doing the right things. Some of it you have to get yourself into the right place at the right time. And you have to do the right thing. And we don't want to make the excuse, if I have this or if I had that, then I could do it. No, that's not the way it works. You need to acquire those skills or those talents in order to get there. I have here, only give 80% of effort if you want to leap between buildings. You know, if you leap between buildings, but you only give yourself 80% effort, what happens? Sadly, you're not going to make it. to leap between two buildings, you're going to have to give yourself 100% effort to get there. Well, it's the same way with your goals. You're going to have to give yourself 100% effort to get there. If, you know, whatever that perfectionism is, you have to give yourself 100%.